Hello, welcome back to Graphic Programming through C language. I am Shaji. In the last video, we have seen how to draw a line using a digital differential algorithm or DDA algorithm. We have used a function, separate function for drawing the line. And in this video, we are going to see another algorithm for drawing the line. That algorithm is called Bresenham's algorithm. So this is another technique to draw a line. This algorithm is developed and known in the name of Bresenham, or it is called Bresenham's algorithm. In this program, we are using the standard header files for the input-output operations, console input-output operations, and graphic operations. Of course, we are going to use one graphic primitive, the basic graphic primitive, that is to put a pixel on the screen. In this algorithm also, we are going to draw a line using dots, which we are going to plot. Here in this program, as usual, we are going to initialize the graphic using the init graph, which is defined in graphic.h. We have two variables, gDriver and gmod, which are declared to use with init graph, and when we use this function, this gDriver and the gmod will be initialized and the system will be ready for plotting the graphics on the screen. We are using some variables dx, dy. Of course, this will be the difference of x and difference of y, and p and end are two other variables which we are using in this algorithm. And we are having some values. Those values are floating point values, x1, x2, y1, y2, and xy. x1, y1 and x2, y2 are the values for the starting point of the line and the ending point of the line. x1 and y1 will be the starting point values, and x2 and y2 will be the ending point values, and we have two more values. That values are x and y. Those values of x and y we are going to calculate using this technique given by Bresenham, and we are going to plot the pixel with the xy values here in this program. Put pixel is the method for plotting a pixel on the screen. And for the put pixel, we have to supply two values, one x value, another y value. So that value we will be calculating with the help of Bresenham's algorithm. Here in this block of code, we have a set of printf scanf sequence. We are going to get the value x1, y1, x2, y2. So using this printf scanf combinations, we are going to read all the x1, y1 values, and now we are ready with all xy values for drawing the algorithm. Here, as usual, we are going to find the slope of the line with respect to x-axis as well as y-axis. The x difference is x1 minus y1, and we are finding absolute value of x1 minus y1, x1 minus x2. The difference is the x difference. The absolute value ABS, the function ABS is used to find the absolute value. We are not interested in getting negative values. Even if we are getting the negative values, we have to make it positive. That's why we are using ABS. Here dy equal to absolute value of the y difference, y1 minus y2 or y2 minus y1. So whichever, we are going to use the ABS to get the value, the absolute value here for dx and dy's. And here we have a decision value p, that is being calculated using this formula, 2 into dy minus dx. P equal to 2 into dy minus dx. This is the critical factor for this program. See the rest of the course. If x1 greater than x2, If this condition is true, then x equal to x2, y equal to y2. If suppose x2 is greater, we are going to start from x2 and y2 and equal to x1. So this will be the beginning values, and x2 will be the beginning value and x1 is going to be the ending value. If x1 is greater, x1 will be the ending and x2 will be the beginning. Else x1 equal to x, that means x1 is going to be the beginning and x2 going to be the end. The value which is the value of x1 or x2 which is smaller, which is smaller value, that is going to be initial value of the line, and which is bigger is going to be the ending value of the line. That is done with this if else assignments. So end is the condition for the x, which is the last point of x value in our program. So for getting the initial point to be plotted, put pixel x comma y comma 10. 10 is the color and the x, y are the values. The x, y initial values we have found with the help of this if condition, whether x or y is the greater one. The reason is that if it is asking for two sets of values for x1, y1, x2, y2, we can supply 100, 100 for x1, y1 and 10, 5 for x2, y2. In this case, the second values are smaller and the first values are bigger. So in this case, x1 will be greater and x2 will be smaller. So that's why we are going to check this. User can give the input in any order, whether the ending line at the first or the starting line at the first. Whichever way they are giving, we are going to spit out and making appropriate for our program to work. And we have a while loop here. While x is less than end. Okay, we have decided already. End is going to be either x1 or x2, depends which value is greater. The greater value is going to be the end value. And x is less than end. So x is the current position of the point. The current point's x value is x. This is the last point, the last value of the x. And in between we are going to increment x and y values to reach xy values to end points of xy values. So here we are incrementing x equal to x plus 1. X is being incremented so that we can plot the next position's value. And for incrementing y, we are choosing some other decision methods. We have already a variable p which is called decision point. If p is less than 0, then we have to do this formula, use this formula to reassign the value of p. P is equal to p plus 2 into dy. This change depends upon the slope for the y. If the slope of y is less, then accordingly we have to increment the value of y. Else, if suppose this condition is wrong, if p is greater than 0, if it is having a positive value, then y equal to y plus 1 and p equal to p plus 2 into the difference between x slope minus y slope, dy by dx. So this decision factor p is critical, so that with the help of this value we are going to increment the value of y. Otherwise we are going to increment the value of x alone. And after this decision making, whether to increment x alone or x and by both, then we are going to put another point, put pixel x comma y, and we are going to give the color for this pixel at the end of this while loop. That means by the time it will be reaching at the end point of x or the line. So by the time our line will be finished, after that, for making the output screen stable, we are using this getCS. Then close graph function is used to release the graphic mode, and we can work as usual with our text mode in our Turbo C++ editor. So this is the program. The initial area is just the header files, and here it is variable declaration and the graphic initialization. These printf scanf blocks are used for receiving the values of x1, y1, x2, y2 for our program. Here we are going to get the dx, dy values, or the slope in x direction and slope in y direction. And p is the decision factor. The initial value is calculated with this formula, 2 dy minus dx. And here we are going to find which is the initial value of xy, which is the end value of xy. Accordingly, we are going to supply whether x1, y1 going to be the initial value or x2, y2 be the initial value. Depends which value is greater. Which x value is greater. We are not going to check the y value. We are going to the x value. Which x value is greater. According to that, we will start plotting the line from the smaller value to the higher value. And with the initial set of x value, we are going to plot a pixel initially. Then rest of the pixels are plotted within a while loop. We have already found the ending value, that may be x1 or x2, depends upon the value which one is greater among x1 and x2. This loop is going to be executed that times from x to the end value. So every while loop steps we are going to increment x in steps of 1, but y will be incremented only if the decision factor p supports, whether the p is greater than 0 or less than 0. Accordingly, we are going to decide whether to increment y or not. This Bresenham's line drawing algorithm is more perfect than that of digital differential algorithm or DDA algorithm. Try this program by yourself. Control F9, you can run the program. Okay, this program is working fine. You please try the program by yourself. In this video, you might have been seen the output screen. You please try this program. These codes are working fine, and you can try it in your Turbo C++ or any other C compiler. Hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have any doubts regarding this video or anything in general in C programming or graphics programming C, please feel free to write to me. My email ID is it_teacher1@yahoo.com. Thank you for watching this video. Have a nice day.